Long time no talk here on the Lawrence County SportsNet's podcast. Beyond the Scoreboard we go here at lcsportsnet.com, as always delivered by Penn Ohio Bottled Water. We kick off the spring season here today with a quick preview as section play begins here today on Monday, March 24th. At the time of this recording, we are looking at, sun's peeking out this morning. We're going to get some section games underway. A few teams beginning section play today in high school baseball and softball action. A majority of the teams get their section season kicked off next week, but we'll dive all into that here on this preview show, again delivered by our friends at Penn Ohio Bottled Water. Make sure you give Penn Ohio Bottled Water a call for delivery of your 3 to 5 gallon water cooler systems. Remember, you can get cases of bottles of water delivered straight to your home or work. I'm James Dotson. We wrapped up the basketball season with a fun end to the year. 4 teams making it to the Peterson Event Center, the three-peat for the Union Lady Scots basketball team. We're going to have some teams here in the spring, especially on the softball diamond, that are going to be looking to make repeat runs here as well. In fact, 1A, 2A, and 3A all had teams represented in the WPIL championships a year ago. The 2A and 3A teams in Shannock and Mohawk each winning championships a year ago. And we'll start on the softball side with the 2A defending state champions in the Neshannock Lancers. A perfect 26-0 season last year. Was it 75 wins in the last 76 games coming into this year? And you want to talk about starting off on a high note? Not sure how much better you can start off. 1 game under their belt at this point, and it's a perfect game for Addie Fry. Absolutely incredible. Or not a perfect game, excuse me. It was a no-hitter, not a perfect game, but about as near perfect as you can get. 17 strikeouts, just 1 walk in the game from Addie Fry in that contest. A win against another upper classification opponent in Chartiers Valley. Big shout out yet again, just the impressive stuff that she has done here so far in her career, and now her senior year trying to get a third state championship, and what would be 4 in a row for the WPIL if they can get another district championship on the line there. But a good chunk of the offense is gone from a year ago, so it's going to be interesting how this all plays moving forward with some new faces in there. But you still got the top 4 of the lineup is all the same, which is what's crazy to me. You still have Miley Anderson, Jaden Noge, Addie Fry hitting, and Gabby Quinn at the top of that lineup. You'll still have Callie Biondi who's working in there, but then there's going to be a lot of new faces in that batting order that are going to be making their names heard very quickly. And I think that's going to be the key, is can they make it very quickly. By the way, a couple fun milestones. Addie Fry now over 550 career strikeouts in her 4 years. She's also over 100 hits. Gabby Quinn is approaching 100 career hits and 100 career RBIs. So we'll be tracking on some of those career numbers over the course of the year here as well. But just some fun early ones there for Neshannock. And how crazy is it? Neshannock softball is nationally ranked. So going beyond classification, they started the year, according to Max Preps, ranked as the 23rd team in the nation for high school softball. And then last time I saw the rankings come out, they were up to 19th in those rankings. So big shout out to Coach Jackie Lash, got her 100th win at States last year. Nationally ranked Lancers team looking to try to make it 3 out of 4 PIAA championships. The teams to look out for in Class 2A that they're going to be going battle with will be Laurel and Shenango. Let's start with Shenango because they have a lot of familiar names back from a team that made it into the playoffs. Had a win in the postseason. Definitely gave a couple teams a bit of a run for their money in the playoffs. Can they take the next push with Kennedy Lynn and company back here? Again, most of the team back from a season ago. Kennedy Lynn, 249 strikeouts last season, and a pretty strong offensive component as well, making their way back here for the Shenango Wildcats. Zoe Offey being one of the top hitters from a year ago. Kennedy Lynn led the team actually in RBI last year. Brianna Lucia was a strong hitter as well. And they're off to a pretty good start. 1-1 record to begin the year, including Kennedy Lynn, a no-hitter in a win against Southside, 8-0. So off to a good start are the Cats. The other team, Laurel, also a good number of new faces, kind of like Neshannock, that are going to be in there, dicing it up right away. A 2-1 start to the year in non-section play so far, but it's the offense that's been impressive. How about 14 runs against Newcastle, 11 runs against Elwood City so far in the 2 victories on the year for the Laurel Spartans, and leading the way in the early going. Got a couple new faces in there. Haley Fell right in there as one of the power hitters. 5 doubles in the first 3 games of the year for Haley Fell. Hayden Seifert has a home run, as does Lexi Kroll. So there's a couple of familiar names. Ivy Pancher's getting it done at the top of the lineup. So you're going to see, again, some familiar names, but also some new names to work behind Riley Balcom, who was likely to be the top thrower in the circle this year for a new look team, by the way, for Laurel, also on the coaching staff. Coach Duddy is still listed on the staff as an assistant coach, but has stepped down from the head coaching role there at Laurel. So a little bit of a difference of how things are going to work this year with Coach Bill Garraway, but he was an assistant last year with Coach Duddy, so kind of just flipping the script a little bit, trying to get back to what they've been doing so well. It's crazy. In the 8 years that Coach Duddy was there, worst season they had was actually last year with 6 losses. That was the worst record that they had in the 9 years, 8 seasons under Coach Duddy. So always going to be a threat no matter what are the Laurel Spartans for sure. Bump up to 3A, we mentioned Elwood City. So let's talk about the Lady Wolverines, a 2-1 record for them to start the year. Other than that loss to Laurel, they stepped back up, though, with a couple of good wins, one against Southside and one against Riverside to start the season. And a lot of familiar names back in this lineup as well, especially in the heart of that order with Sarah Schwartz and Amber McQuiston as some of the top options. Kylie LeVere, Riley Prestapine, a lot of people who have been in this situation. I think it's 8 of the 10 starters back from a year ago. And when you have Amber McQuiston still getting better and better every time she steps into the circle as a pitcher, also I think going to be very fun to watch as she progresses over the course of this season. Alexis Beck, as a couple of the top hitters as well to go along with Lena Lucarelli to start the season for Elwood City. But it's going to be Mohawk as the team to beat because, again, they return 8 out of 10 starters from a year ago, and they're off to a hot start with wins over Riverside and Mars to begin the season. And Reagan Magno just keeps on developing in the circle. Another pitch, a little more velocity from compared to last year. You still got Annie Moskal leading things off. You still got Olivia Hare, a great athlete at the top of that lineup. Jonathan Zulo, saw her do great things as a freshman. I think she's going to be a big factor this year. McKenna Stewart didn't play last year, injured all last year. She's back, and she's going to be another just powerful stick in that lineup. Lydia Cole with a couple of big games to begin the year as well. So a lot of, again, familiar names for a Mohawk team that's going to look to defend that Class 3A title under Coach Pizzulo, getting their first WPL title, now looking to make it back-to-back. And I think they are definitely, if not the team to beat, definitely one of the top teams to beat for sure in Class 3A. Let's talk about Class 1A, though, as Union, they fell in the WPL Championship a year ago. Didn't get their three-peat, but they can make it 3 out of 4 for this talented senior class. And when you have already have Addie Nogue, a senior, going to Fairmont State. Mia Pruz, she's going to go to Canisius. Liv Williams, a junior, already is committed to Findlay. So you got some powerful options right there. Oh, by the way, a sophomore in Ireland Fisher and another junior big hitter in Olivia Benedict. This batting lineup, 1 through 9, good luck finding places that you're going to get outs against this team. That's the long and short of it. And Mia Pruz off to a good start in the circle as well. She's also gained another pitch and a couple more miles per hour on her fastball as well. This team is, again, I think the odds-on favorite for sure in Class 1A. Easily the favorite again in section play, and I think again the likely top seed if they take care of business throughout the regular season and into the playoffs likely would be a number 1 seed come playoff time. But a big part of all that is the non-section games, and a couple of big ones scheduled for Union and for all the county teams, but Union scheduled to take on both Wilmington and Newcastle this year. Let's talk about the Hounds real quick up in District 10, Class 2A, trying to make that final step to a district championship opportunity. Got to talk about Avery Harlan for a minute. Committed to Bradley. She only starts the year 2-0 are the Hounds. She's the leadoff hitter. She had a leadoff home run in each of the first 2 games and then hit another home run in each of those 2 games. So 4 home runs through 2 games for Avery Harlan. And I think what could be really crucial for them, you're not going to wear out any of these pitchers because you got between Ava Williamson, Stella Maynard, and Skylar Leishman, you're going to have some rested arms and be able to mix and match as necessary. And I think that is going to be necessary over the course of a long season to be able to keep all arms fresh and healthy throughout the course of the season. And the final team we need to talk about, jump up to Class 5A to talk about the Newcastle softball team. And if it's anything of a season like what we saw last year and what we've seen to start this year, expect a lot of offense from the Canes. 2-1 to start the year. Scored 6 runs against Olsh, 19 against Butler, and 10 in a loss against Laurel. Lots of runs being scored, lots of freshmen playing on this team. 5 starting freshmen here in the early going for the Newcastle Red Hurricanes. They were 1 game away. If they had a win at the end of the season against Western Beaver, they would have been in the playoffs. It was right there, and knowing that they had a big group coming up to help out with a pretty talented senior class. I mean, you got with Karaman Giri going to Pitt, St. Francis committing as well in Olivia Hood, and those 2 off to strong starts, to say the least, as well. Olivia Hood leading the county in stolen bases, hitting over 500. Karaman Giri, how about 4 home runs in the first 3 games? In fact, if you go back to last year, she has a home run now in 6 consecutive regular season contests for the Pitt commit. So big-time power, and also I think a big part of it, kind of mentioned it with Wilmington, multitude of arms now. Zoe Shields has come in, shown that she'll throw a little bit consistently. Lexi Moyer is going to get some innings as well to supplement Olivia Hood in some sort of fashion, maybe even a little rotation between the 2 or 3 of them. I think that's going to be, again, key, that it's not all or almost all on one arm like it has been for the last couple of years. And this is just going to be a much more well-rounded team, and a team I think we're going to be hearing a lot about, kind of flying under the radar early in the year, and they are absolutely fine with that aspect of it. Will they be able to then make the adjustments throughout the course of the year and come up big at the end? Big shout out to Aaliyah Stalsinski as well, leadoff hitter, hitting over 500 as well for Newcastle. In fact, 4 hitters hitting 500 or above for that Canes team to start the season. So keep an eye on Newcastle as well. Brand new turf, second year of the turf officially, lights up there as well now. Going to have some night games, I hear. Going to be a lot of fun there for Newcastle playing this season. A lot of fun for all of our softball teams. In fact, all of them are in contention to be in the playoff hunt, if not better, all 8 teams in the county, which is absolutely awesome to talk about. We'll talk about the other side, the bigger diamond. We'll go from 60 feet to 90 feet and talk about the high school baseball teams in the county. When we return, it's our spring season preview show. It's Beyond the Scoreboard podcast, delivered by Penn Ohio Bottled Water.
Don't get left out to dry. Call the Penn Ohio Bottled Water Company for the fastest and most efficient bottled water delivery service in the area. Penn Ohio offers bottled water ranging from 16.9-ounce bottles to 5-gallon jugs, perfect for your next event or office water cooler system. Also, don't forget to ask about their custom labeling options. Visit PennOhioBottledWater.com for more information and to get a quote on their delivery services. Whether it's at home, in the office, or on the sidelines, Penn Ohio has you covered.
Just like going to the doctor, our homes need a checkup too. If your home is not properly weatherized, you could be at risk for symptoms that cause unhealthy ailments and higher utility bills. The Weatherization Assistance Program is the key to reducing utility costs and increasing comfort in your home. Services include an in-home energy audit to inspect your furnace and hot water tank, check for air sealing around windows and doors, and ensure adequate insulation and ventilation. Learn more at lcap.org or call the Department of Healthy Homes to get your checkup today.
Those custom label options, really awesome to have. Big thanks again to Penn Ohio Bottled Water. Thanks for all they do for us, and thanks for everybody tuning in for the Penn Ohio Bottled Water delivery of these spring sports, and well, not just the spring sports preview podcast like we have here, but all of our podcasts here on Beyond the Scoreboard on the Lawrence County SportsNet, powered by LCAP. Let's flip over to the boys' side of things and take a look at some of the teams that are going to be making waves here in the baseball side of things, because we have a lot of teams that are ranked in the preseason polls, according to our friends at the Trib Live High School Sports Network. 2A is going to be a lot of fun. 3A is also going to be a lot of fun. Let's start there with Elwood City and Mohawk. Elwood City off to a 3-0 start to the year. Aaron Lake, a pair of victories on the mound already on the season for Elwood City, getting right out of the basketball gym and straight out on the diamond for Coach Wise. Well, Coach Wise as well, as he went from coaching the girls to heading out on the field as well. Give a shout out to Cameron Mills, off to a hot start, hitting the ball as well. This is a team, they're always going to be fundamentally sound, always have been there at Old Lincoln High. They're going to have the solid pitching. You're not going to see this team make a whole lot of mistakes. Can they didn't have enough consistent hitting over the last couple of years. I think you're going to start to see probably one of the more offensive teams for Elwood City, at least in recent memory, and showing in the early going. 11 runs against Freedom, 19 against New Brighton, and 8 against West Allegheny. Yeah, West Allegheny, that's a big win there at home at Sanders Field. So big shout out to Coach Wise and company at Elwood City getting off to a strong start there. Mohawk is, I think, assumed to be the number 2 team in the section behind Riverside, and probably Elwood City battling as the 3, but it's, again, a deep section 2 here in Class 3A. And Section 1, for Class 3A. Mohawk has only 1 game under their belt so far. Looked good for the most part. A couple of rough innings late in a non-section loss to Mercer, 11-10. But again, the names that are back, especially in the batting order, yes, I know you lose a couple of 4-year starters who are playing ball at the next level. You lose A.J. Verdi, you lose Jay Ronan. You know that's going to be tough to replace those 2 for sure. But you got your top 2 throwers back in Vinny Pizzulo, Briar Crawford. You got both of them coming back. You got Bobby Fadden back, who he's been leadoff the last 2 years. Might be in the 2 or 3 hole, I think, for a majority of this season. You still got Jackson Chapman back as a big part of it. And we've heard some of the names on the basketball court. I think we're going to be seeing more of a Cash Stratton. I heard him from football. Drew Rona, just mentioned from hoops. Cam O'Lair is somebody who I know that they're excited about as well. Jackson Peters, 4 RBI in that game against Mercer. Lots of big names for Coach Mariano. And again, kind of like Elwood City, a team that's going to be fundamentally sound always. You know what you're going to get out of them. A strong performance, time in, time out, and just a team that you don't want to be facing, especially come playoff time, because they're not going to make the mistakes. They're going to force you to make them instead. So always keeping your eye on Mohawk. Obviously, Riverside, the team as a defending champion, is going to be the team to watch out for, especially when you got the pitching staff that they have there at Riverside for sure. We'll be talking about them plenty over the course of the year, but I think both Elwood City and Mohawk have the tools to, for sure, at least challenge and make things interesting in a 2-game series against the Panthers. Let's drop down to Class 2A, and again, a good chunk of teams here that I think we're going to be excited about between the Shannock, Shenango, and Laurel. Let's start with the Shannock, a team, again, they're actually the only team in the county that has not played an official game yet at the time of this recording here on section opening day. They have a couple non-section games scheduled for this week before they get underway with section play Actually, I don't even. Yeah, they start section play next Monday, a week from today. But you look at the players that they have coming back. I mean, obviously, 4-year starter in Dom Cubelis, Jake Rind, not an everyday starter his freshman year, but essentially started his entire freshman year and played in every game his freshman year. So you got 2 good 4-year starters, probably going to be 2 of your top options on the hill as well. Anthony Aikens, a real a speedster who also can hit for power. Cole Hutchinson. There's a lot of speed on this team. Matt Pallarino, a lot of speed. You know that they like to take advantage and get stuff done on the base paths. I think that's what Coach Quilero and his team is going to be all about again this year. And a couple of good pitchers that are going to be back. Mentioned both Cubelis and Rind especially are, I think, going to be your top 2 options coming back this year. But you got, Jackson Latter, who saw a good chunk of innings last year. Cole Hutchinson was injured early in the year. Didn't see a lot of him. Thomas Morrell, I think, is another player who's kind of sliding under the radar as a potential pitcher to watch here from the county. So, again, a lot of great things potentially there from a Neshannock bunch that just they find ways to win games. It's what they've done forever, it feels like, there, especially under Coach Q. I'll talk about Laurel, though, a team that returns nearly everybody from last year's squad that made it into the quarterfinals, lost it in a pretty good battle against Sarah Catholic in the quarterfinals in the playoffs last year. But again, they returned most of their guys, and I think, again, that's going to be key as you have a lot of experience back from last year's team. I mean, between Santini and Kissick, 2 guys who were big time on the hill for them. Looking at guys who have over 100 career at-bats already in high school. Mentioned Santini and Kissick. We also throw in McBride and Shearer in there. Colton Carlson, who had a fantastic season last year, hitting just shy of 500. Lots of options for Coach Burks as well there for that Laurel baseball program. And I think they're just going to continue to improve over the course of the year, kind of like they did last year. Kept getting better and better. And I think that's a testament to what that staff has been starting to put together, and can they put together a full season start to finish and really potentially make some waves out there in Spartanville. Shenango back with Coach Othides now for his second year at the helm. It starts when you got Joey Campoli. You know that they're going to be a team to be reckoned with, and Sam Patton, a great hitter as well. I'm looking to see as Trey Ross becomes a good option. Already is a good option, but he and Tyler Houck becoming more influential in both the offense and the defensive side of things. Both have played good games, especially in their trip down at Myrtle Beach, getting things underway. That kind of 3-headed monster, I think, between Campoli, Patton, and Houck throwing the ball, and then Trey Ross also as a 3B, if you want to say a 3A, 3B maybe. I mean, those 4 are going to be the ones that really are the ones that start everything off. And Christian Anorak has also had a good start to this season here as well from the catcher position. Shenango's had some quality catchers come through the program in the last few years. He's just the next man up in that one. So Coach Othidi is, again, another team in Shenango. Around here, this is a team that you don't want to be messing with come playoff time, because they're a team that is going to make things difficult and potentially get playoff upsets if like they did last year in the opening round of the postseason. Never easy playing up there at Chuck Tanner Field either. So Shenango, another team that was a team to watch in the Trib Live High School Sports Network's rankings there in Class 2A. Also in Class 2A, let's talk about Wilmington real quick, as they return a good chunk of players from last year's team. Also played in a couple of higher scoring games. Lost on a walk-off to Sharon 13-12. Lost a game against Grove City early in the year. Put up a 15 spot against Union, though, in a victory. Hunter Jones, 4 RBI in that game. Freddie Zettner, good to see him transitioning now, 3-sport athlete into the baseball realm, and off to a hot start is Freddie Z. In fact, multi-hit games on base multiple times, I think you can say, in all 3 games there for Freddie Zettner. Big stuff for him. And obviously Chase Mitchelltree, he's only hitting .727 in the first 3 games of the year. Only .727. So, they have, again, a good chunk of their guys back from a year ago. Lost a couple in the pitching staff, so that's going to be the big question is who's going to step up as the top dog throughout the course of the season consistently on the bump. That'll be the question there for the Wilmington Greyhounds. Mentioned that they defeated Union, a very young Union baseball team this year, graduated lots of seniors. One senior back is Jalen Peace. He'll be the ace on the staff almost certainly. 35 innings pitched for him last year. The rest of the staff combined, 12 innings pitched in terms of what is coming back. So they're going to definitely ride the Peace train for sure, especially on day one of those doubleheaders. Who's going to step up as being that number 2 option on the bump is going to be, I think, the biggest key for Coach Bill Sanders and this Union squad. And this is not an easy section here in Section 1 of Class 1A. Lots of quality contenders that you're going to have to deal with time and time again. But you'll see maybe Cole Harper's, I think, going to get some innings on the hill. You probably see Logan Staff, Dom Cusatrone, lots of guys who are going to get their chance. One of them needs to step up and turn into that bona fide number 2 option, and then also a number 3 option, because you need as many arms as you can, no matter what the classification is, the way the back-to-back games are going now in the WPIAL baseball, which I love the back-to-back. It has been one of the greatest rule changes in terms of high school sports that I've seen in my time doing this. I really love the idea. I wish you could have it across the state, for all classification, or not all class, all districts across the Commonwealth, and even to try to find a way to incorporate it into playoffs a little bit more throughout the course of the year. I really do think it's the best thing to develop teams that have a full onslaught of a pitching staff, not just a one-hit wonder type of team, which I think is, again, the big key for any baseball team, but especially when you go and look at what baseball truly is. It's not supposed to be about one pitcher, one player. It should be about a staff and about making sure all arms are being handled properly. Final team I want to talk about real quick is Coach Billy Cook's Newcastle Red Hurricanes. 0-3 start to the year in their 3 games, but played well in those games down at Myrtle Beach. 2 of them were competitive. A game against Monsignor Bonner. I mean, enough said. A team that's been a powerhouse in multiple sports there from the eastern side of the state. Nothing to go crazy about there, but 2 close losses in their other 2 games over this past weekend down in Myrtle Beach. The DeSalvo twins are going to be 2 big parts of this team, both on offense and on the hill. That's a kind of a similar scenario when you look at it. Those 2 combined for 45 of the 53 innings pitched of players coming back for this year's team for Newcastle. So those 2 guys especially are going to be a big part of their success this year. Phil Lorenza is going to be a guy I think he's going to get a lot more on his shoulders, maybe throwing the ball as well as in the batter's box for sure. And Dom Miller, of course, as one of the top offensive options for Newcastle. It's going to be, again, a tough section at Section 3 of Class 5A, but some winnable games in there as well. And, you get 1 sweep and 1 split early, and you're in the driver's seat to basically control your destiny in terms of making the playoffs in that section. So Newcastle, it's going to be an uphill climb, obviously, but I think already showing that they have made improvements from where they were a year ago. And we'll see when section play begins next week just exactly how that all turns out. So softball does not begin section play until next week. Baseball section play officially begins today, Monday the 24th, for some of the sections. For our county teams, that's Class 1A Union section. They are hosting Leechburg today and then travel to Leechburg tomorrow. Union, though, their field not ready yet, still getting under construction. So their game is actually at 5:30 tonight at Pullman Park in Butler for Union's home opener, quote-unquote home opener, I should say, against Leechburg. Class 2A featuring Shenango, Laurel, and Neshannock. That's also a section opener today. Shenango hosting Aliquippa, and Laurel traveling to New Brighton. Both of those are 4 o'clock starts. Neshannock also in that section. This is their off week with 7 teams in the section. 1 team has the the section bye each week there for baseball, and the Shannon gets theirs right out of the gate. So they will kick off section play a week from today with a home game against Laurel. We'll be there at Mike Bubba Kirkwood Field for that one for our spring broadcast opener as the Lancers host the Spartans. Again, that's a week from today on Monday, the 31st. But we'll have plenty of action, getting you all the coverage, all the stats, all the box scores. Check out our social media page. We have them up there every night for you, so don't miss it. Just want to stay tuned for all of that. Me personally, I missed that there's no box scores being posted in any of the local papers, really across all of Western Pennsylvania. Missed that part of high school baseball and softball, so we're dedicated to try to get those box scores posted for you each and every day. We thank you for being dedicated to us. We thank Penn Ohio Bottled Water for delivering these previews and all of our podcasts over the course of the year here on Beyond the Scoreboard. I'm James Dotson saying so long. Stay tuned, enjoy March Madness, and get ready for spring craziness here on the Lawrence County SportsNet, powered by LCAP.